Hello everyone, Kenty Tiger here with Bengali Engineering and Play. We are back in, as you can see, Osiris New Dawn. This is I guess it's the beta version. Well, not beta, but early access. That's what I'm trying to say, early access, which I can look and see is right on the top right-hand corner there. So anyway, I was experimenting yesterday, as you've seen from the stream. I started out in creative mode, and that was very purposeful on my part because it's a brand new game to me. So I am not good with new games, to put it mildly. So I am more of I need to experiment and play around rather than just land in a hostile alien-filled environment where I'm going to get the snot stomped out of me. So I decided that I would play in creative. Now, my problem with creative is that there were some game mechanics that did not function as expected. Now, this is totally my expectations here. So let me, while I'm babbling here, I've got my one avatar here. So here's what we changed to, and I'll not totally abandon what I was babbling about. Avatars. So these are basically your your saved game profiles. Is kind of what that looks like. I named, if you look on the info on the left side there. Get the game audio turned down a little bit. I love the music, but you know. So you can name the universe, and of course the original game was Osiris. So I went ahead and called this one Osiris 2. It is a local game, so it's running on the local machine here. It's not shared to the world or anything like that, so I can't do multiplayer yet. I have not stepped off that particular cliff. Don't know entirely how to make that happen, but you know, we'll see. So one of the things I noticed, and I went from the creative mode, and discovered, point being here, before I segue back into where I was going with this, there's only one avatar here. So that creative mode avatar, or that creative mode profile for the game, was apparently changed. So I was thinking, okay, just abandon that one and do another game that was in the custom mode, as you see here, but it didn't quite work out that way. So apparently it overwrote the other one, so I don't know exactly what the plus comes in, and it could be entirely because I named my avatar the same. So it may have just literally overwritten the other one, and it didn't entirely override it because the things that I built in the first game were still there. So the depository, the forge, was still at the base. Now I did have to roam and get to the base, which was different. So I started out at the same crash site, had to rediscover. You have about 20 seconds to get a handle on what the controls are, pick up the tape, pick up the bandages and stuff like that before disaster strikes you. So anyway, I had to learn quickly. So I do now have my keyboard thing sitting right in front of me, so I can get to where I need to go. So anyway, point being here, it seems to have overwritten, which was really strange. Oh, darn it, I didn't want to do that back. So I just want to launch this one. So this does take a little while. So what I was saying, so again, segue back into where I was going originally, was in my experience in playing these simulator type games, and I know this isn't purely a simulator, not purely a sandbox game, But so creative, you pick up things and then you refine things, and all of that stuff still functioned even in creative mode. So you take ore, you throw it into refinery, whatever we're calling it, the forge, uh, whatever we call it, and we refine it down into ingots or whatever, and on it goes. And what I noticed is that I could literally, so here's the base. This is the abandoned base. So it's definitely seen, so this is Osiris 1 base, is what this is called. Let me tab and go in. Okay, that looks about right. Yeah, I think that's about right. When I would go out and collect raw materials, I would bring it back to the forge over here. And what happened to my forge? Oh, did I kill my forge? As you can see, I did some changes. So yeah, I guess I did get rid of my forge. As I was using the forge, I would have expected that that you would still remove the different things out of out of the inventories into the forge. The forge would then take it and make it into the ingots, and then on you move. But it wasn't actually taking the raw materials out of my inventory. It was giving me the ingots, but it wasn't removing the stuff from my inventory to make those ingots. So it was basically, I did all this collecting for nothing. My expectations were the mechanics would still be about the same. You still would collect the materials even though you didn't really need to. The materials would still be taken and run through the forge, and you would end up with the processed materials as a result, and that wasn't the case. So what happened is I ended up with a depository. My forge, the forge ended up here, which I built in the creative game. So the depository, the forge, and a furnace, which I built somewhere else. It may still be in world somewhere. And I'm learning all kinds of dynamics as I go along. So obviously I'm brand new to this game, a total noob in this game. The discoveries are that this base, I presumed, so stupid of me, but I presumed that I wonder, and set target. Uh-oh. So I discovered you can rename your droid. So I did that. And Narbaksha, for those of you who don't speak Hindi, Narbaksha loosely translates into English as the male cub. So while a droid is neither male or female, granted, the reason I named it Narbaksha dropped off 100% of items carried. Nice. The reason I named it Narbaksha, Narbaksha is a name that was given to a tiger cub, in fact. And the reason why his name was Narbaksha was because, hey, he's male. So the male cub, Narbaksha. So anyway. So, what I have done in the off-screen time, I discovered this base is not a repairable base. So I made an assumption that I could repair this base, and that is not the case. It is aesthetics only, so there's nothing I can do here. So I had built 2 depositories as a resultant. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4 now, are here. So I had built the first one and the forge for it, which was the creative mode mission parameters. And then when I jumped into the more custom survival mode parameters, then I had to build another depository and another forge. I did not have to build another furnace, although I did have a furnace here. So what I wanted to do was consolidate all of my materials, and so I built another couple of repositories. The repositories are built by common materials, so iron and aluminum. So 10 iron, 10 aluminum will build you a repository. So they're actually fairly cheap to build. The materials are everywhere. So those are very common. So building the repositories actually is pretty easy. I'm discovering a lot of the other things that you need to make, like a printer, like the other tables, some of the other things are a lot more extensive, and I have not figured out how to do those yet. So what I did here, kind of as an interim mechanism, is this is my storage base. So my intentions here are to figure out where I need to be, and then build. So I want to build the basic of bases. Ultimately, I want to be able to, if you see back here in the background, so you have your airlocks, you have your habitat, which is what this center piece here was. It's missing all of its walls. Most of them are laying on the ground. You have the hallways or tunnels. This was the biodome. In the back there is the laboratory, and your laboratory ultimately leads you, at least I believe this is the case, leads you to these large mechanized vehicles. Some of them can be airborne, hovercraft, and some of them are ground-based. Obviously, when you're walking around, it's pretty convenient because you can stop and do whatever you need to do. But when you're moving a lot of materials from point A to point Z, it's extremely time-consuming. So that's where I've kind of run into some problems. So the intention here was to consolidate and grab pretty much everything material-wise and get them into the depositories, because those are the most efficient, effective mechanisms that I have currently. So that's why there's only 4 of them here. And then ultimately move to the real base. So as you can see, what I'm doing here now is just taking all of these items and then putting them into the various depositories. So you can rename these, and your repair tool actually, or the multi-tool in this case, brings up a whole bunch of different menu options. So in this case, I'm getting close to it. And what I want to do is just dump stuff in here, and there's no real easy way to do this. So in this case, I'm just putting stuff away. I've got circuit cards in here. There was no method to the madness when I was moving stuff over. I just moved them. So there was no specific intention here. Number 2 was not generously filled. Number 1, I think, is almost entirely full. So water, strangely, is about 50% there. So what I have here in my inventory is, and I tried to, I don't know if this can be expanded. It may be a fixed element of some kind in the game. I don't know if there's something, later on where you can actually carry more weight or not. Obviously 80 kilograms is a boatload of weight. If you've never done any kind of backpacking or anything like that, then that makes absolutely no sense. Oh, 80 is not that much. Well, yeah, that's quite a bit, actually. So for those of you who are metrically challenged, 80 kilograms, a kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So we are talking about 170 pounds of stuff. Now, if you've not picked up 170 pounds lately, then I encourage you to try that. So anyway, so what I've done, I've got my food, 2 different types of food here. I've got some med kits in case I need them. I've got a whole boatload of oxygen, and I've got my bolt action rifle magazine, as well as laser cells, which are the bottom of the barrel, as far as, so it says right there on the screen, ammo charges for the pistol. Okay. My pistol. I cannot build anything else yet. So my skill tree is almost complete here. I have only a couple things, which I think I can actually do now, which was that one and that one. Yeah. So I needed the points to do that, so that's just rolling around, picking stuff up and refining and picking more stuff up and playing and doing this and doing that. So the skill tree is pretty much done. So no more worries on the skill tree as far as what I need to do. So now it's purely resources. Before I can build some of these more advanced anythings, so I have a little bit of ammunition for this, ammo shells, but I cannot build the rifle because I need a fabricator. I can't build a fabricator because it's an indoor item. I will have to build a base to put a fabricator in. So all of that kind of stuff is going to be fully dependent upon a base. Now I can do a printer. A printer is an external, well, babble. Let me just show you. So, printer. Whoops, that went a little too far. Printer here. Printer is an outdoor crafting table, so I can build it just about anywhere. Oh, that was pretty close. Uses advanced technology to print new and complex items from basic materials. So I need a power supply, which means I have to build a solar array of some kind. So the build recipe: ingots. I have all the aluminum ingots in the world. Steel. I have no idea how to make steel. Rubber. Have no idea to make rubber. And glass. I have no idea how to make glass. So there's certain elements of the game that I still have absolutely no clue how to do. I should have looked that up while I was off screen and did not. So I've got a long ways to go as far as really figuring out the different game mechanics. I need a chem station. And chem station, okay, can be put up outdoors. And what I need, again, steel and glass, which I do not have any steel. I may be lying. I may actually have some steel that was collected steel, because when I took apart, I stumbled across a satellite that was down, and I got batteries out of one, and I got some really neat materials such as the circuit board, more wires, that sort of thing that I got from a satellite, and cryptics, those sorts of things. So I have not yet figured out how to get into the cryptics. What I saw from some online play, some other YouTubers, was you basically set up your portable habitat, this thing here, inflatable dome, and inside that dome is apparently a computer that you can use, that you plug your cryptics into them, and then you solve them. So anyway, again, I'm still learning all the game mechanics here. So goals being what they are, my only goal is now find mine Magni, and it is quite a ways away. One of the things that I really want to be able to do, and I'm using my little. All right, he's dead, and I know why he's dead. So this guy needs batteries, and he only runs for so long without batteries or with batteries. Bringing up my map, which you notice, so let me go from, okay, so if we look in the top right hand corner of the screen, you see find map Magni, and it gives me a distance and a compass direction there. If I bring up my mapper, you'll see left mouse button comes up as a possible option. So if I click left mouse button, I can actually home in on Narbakcha. Okay, so he is my homing device to get home. So this base is home. So I have been roaming a little bit as I've gone along here. What I did was remove the forges. There were 2 forges here because of the building in 2 different games, and there was a furnace here. And what I've done is removed the furnace. So having said that, I probably ought to build a furnace again because of having all of this, for example. That was stuff that just got put in there by Narbakcha, put that in there. So I wish you could actually set a much larger area. So I think lithium is refinable. So we'll go ahead and pull that in here. And I have a spattering of other things, circuit boards, space junk, all the vegetation that I've found over the course of time, and all the cryptics I've found, which are 6 so far. I have some rifle ammunition here, but I do not have the rifle yet. So I'm going to have to build that. So anyway, we have a lot of materials here already. Definitely a large spattering might be able to iron. Is that iron? No. So let's put that over there. Consolidate here. So I tried to be intelligent as I was doing this, and obviously that's a fail. So all the different plants and everything. So let's put that plant down. There's the OCD kicking in. Keeping everything organized. So raw materials here. Let's see if I have any more raw materials here. Gold. That's, I think, carbon. Gold. This is going to put me overweight, but I can still move for the most part. So again, 2 didn't have that much. As I really get going here and start moving to the real base, where you know, when the home base becomes a home base, then eventually I will have all of this much more organized. So I've only got 1 battery. I've got wire and circuit boards. I've got a spare one of these things I found. So this is all the raw materials here except for this water. And I've got my food. I've got water that I can use, even a half-filled one. And then I've got 2 more water here. I do not know how to refill these yet. My understanding is you collect hydrogen, you collect oxygen, then you go to a chemistry table with the empty glass container and put them all together, and magically it works. Now whether that's actually the case or not, I do not know. So I have not experimented with that directly yet. Eventually I will get there. So what I do need is to figure out what I need to make a forge, which is this here. So I need 4 iron, 2 titanium, and 4 plutonium. So iron, titanium, plutonium. Iron. One of the other things I've discovered is you cannot take a part of anything. All I can do is add the backpack, and that whole stack goes to the backpack. But what I'm going to do here is, because these are all just kind of parts and pieces, supplies, I'm going to do a little bit of organizing here in the process. So a lot of different stuff here. So I need copper, iron, titanium, and so here's my steel, which I acquired from that satellite. This is magnesium. Okay, so there's my plutonium, and I already have the iron, and I need titanium. Alright, so I do not have any titanium in this particular thing. But I'm going to go ahead and move the aluminum up here. So I need iron, which I have. I need plutonium, and I think number 3 is the one that actually contains my titanium. Aluminum. For those of you Europeans who are watching, aluminium, and I apologize for pronouncing it the American way. Alright, so now that I have the materials I need in here, then we click on the forge and we can figure out where to put it. We can actually kind of put it in a variety of different places. I'm going to go ahead and just put it close to stuff here. Whoops. And what I want to do with the forge in this case is to basically take all of my materials and refine them. So we start with our iron. And as I'm clicking, you can see this counting down, and that was the problem with the other. This is rock. What does rock actually change into? Build recipe. I need a barrel. I don't know why I need a barrel for that, but still. Okay. This is magnesium, right? I'll try and keep myself organized here, so I'm going to have 1 magnesium left. This is aluminum. Lead, titanium, I wish there was a way to just move everything, but it doesn't do that. At least not that I have been able to tell. Oops, I had more iron than I thought. So the goal here, even though I really did want to head to the mine, was to get the inventory organized. As you can see, different elements refine at different speeds. Okay, there's my lithium. Whoa, it takes 5 lithiums at a time. And I think gold apparently does as well. Proficiency in something. Carbon. I think titanium is my own. So some elements take 3, some elements take 5, which I did not know. Thankfully, one of the things you see here is the green. So everything that's green, it says green here. I see steel is green, so I'm not sure. Steel. Iron, aluminum, and magnesium. Okay. Okay, I have so rocks are used as tools and building materials. To use it as a weapon, convert it in your crafting menu to a bashing rock. Okay, so I can make those with just titanium and steel. I can make pipes, which is steel. Alright, so obviously I'm going to have to learn the recipes. So apparently this is going to be much more recipe based. So glass and sand makes perfect sense. I don't care for the fact that you have to be so entirely close to these different things, and I wish there was an easier mechanism for transferring inventories around than there is. This one is almost full. So we're going to get the last of these elements in here. And we're going to move the steel in. You know what? I have steel somewhere else, so let's not do that. I think steel is in this one. No. There's my steel. So steel over here. Alright, so I do kind of have things spread out here a little bit, which is not the most intelligent things to do. You know what? I know that is adding to my relative weight, but I think I will keep everything unrefined in my own inventory. Titanium. Some of these are precious metals, so the titanium and lead are a little harder to find. I truly don't know how to refine rocks into anything else. Let drop, no. So I don't know how to get sand, in other words. So sand may be another challenge in figuring out how to get it. I don't know how to get sand. So aluminum, I don't know. It said the recipe for steel when I actually had the stuff in my inventory, but oops. Okay, so I have food. I have a reasonable amount of water. Although I have been babbling here for 36 minutes, so perhaps what I should do is reorient off screen here. Now that I've babbled a little bit, I've taken care of some kind of housekeeping stuff. Yeah, so that's what we'll do. We'll cut this one a little bit short, just because, and then we will head to the mine. Let me get my mapper up here, change again, start position, which in fact was my start position for this particular video. Respawn position, I don't know what that means. I have no idea. I don't know what the floating things up here are. That's kind of weird. Don't know if that's a glitch or not. No idea. And then the mine. So the mine is our goal at this point. So this is Kenty Tiger signing off, and we will see you next video.